In this review we're going back in time to a model first reviewed in January 2008. The model maker is Sword Models and this is their traditional branded packaging, and the model is an Elliot fuel and lube on a Peterbilt 357 chassis. And this version of the model is in a generic white colour scheme. Looking underneath the box we can see the typical logos of Sword Models, Peterbilt and Elliot.
Let's weigh it up.
Yes, onto the weighbridge it goes, and the box comes in at nearly £1 9 ounces, which is a nice round 700 grams. Open the box, see what's inside. And in time-honoured fashion, it's the expanded polystyrene trays. And to begin with, we have a small brochure which we'll take a look at in a moment, and there's a couple of bags containing small parts. Yo, cut the tape, bro, and when that's done, you can lift the lid and see what's inside. Let's now take a look at the included brochure, and it's a reprint of a marketing brochure for the Elliot company. And it shows the various types of truck bodies that the company was making at the time the model was released. But there's no information about the model itself. Well, no instructions, but the assembly is simple enough. We start by adding the cover to the battery box, and then we have some air horns to fit on the roof of the cab, and there are 4 of them which press into pre-formed holes. With that done, there's just 2 sets of mirrors to install, and like the other attachments, they are all metal parts. These also press into pre-formed holes, and there's enough friction to prevent them falling out easily.
Let's weigh it up again.
Let's put the model onto the weighbridge, and it's £1 4 ounces, and that is 570 grams. As usual, we start underneath and the chassis is detailed. The underside of the engine and gearbox is modelled, and you can see the exhaust system and the drive shaft to the rear axles. They are also modelled in detail. A nice touch on the model are the soft mud flaps, and there are different tyres, front and rear. Getting out from underneath we can look at the impressive front grille with a Peterbilt badge at the top. And the lights are also nicely modelled. There's no license plate on this version of the model because it's generic. The cab roof has lots on it, including 2 beacon lights, air horns and other lights. And there's a big chrome visor. The split windscreen has the seals modelled, and the wipers are indicated. The cab door is modelled without a window, presumably to make it easy to open. And there's very nice textured chromework leading up into the cab. There's a tiny Peterbilt badge on the side of the hood, and the chrome wheels are good to look at. The big fuel tank has got a couple of lights modelled, and there's good looking graphics on the side. A fire extinguisher is modelled, and the cabinets have door handles. Further back there's a folded ladder, and also a tank with some other equipment. The rear wheels have also got a nice chromed finish, and the graphics on the bodywork are very sharp. And here's more proof of the nice soft mud flaps. At the back there are beacon lights and work lights and more graphics, and the roller shutter is modelled effectively. There are painted lights down the 2 edges, and on the opposite side there are hoses and more equipment sitting above a cabinet. The chromed exhaust is very good with a decent looking hole, and there's also a metal grab rail on the side. A particularly nice detail is the fuel tank with its graphics. The separate oil tanks have detailed tops. Back we go underneath and the wheels spin freely, but the tyres might need a bit of straightening. And the steering at the front has a good range of notched movement, but it's not so good when the model is right side up, as we'll see. but as a plus point there is suspension on the rear axles. So here we are on the freeway and the model rolls nice and smoothly, and that suspension on the rear axles is effective. Let's now set the steering and see what we can achieve. And in reality you have to keep the angle small because otherwise the tyres interfere with the hood. So with care you can pose it being steered, but not with a big angle. This Peterbilt does feature an opening hood and it opens very wide. And there's a detailed engine underneath with multiple coloured components. And you can see the front grille is nice and see-through. The next feature we have is opening cab doors, and they open to a decent angle. Another small feature the model has is the removable cover to the batteries, so you can always check if you're fully charged up. Next to that there are a couple of opening cabinets, and it's initially tricky to actually get them open. But don't worry, if you want to see them open, we're here for you. Moving on further, there is the double hinged ladder, and that opens up, allowing a climb up onto the deck. And it's a nicely working little feature. Of course, if you want to fill a tank, it needs a hole, and the model even has an opening filler cap up on top. And you can have some fun putting your nozzle into it. Perhaps the nicest feature on the model is at the back, and that's the opening roller shutter. And it opens up fully. Inside, the detailing is great, with various dispensers for the oils and lubes. On the other side there's another small cabinet with opening doors, and it's a useful little place to store your bagels and other culinary delights. But even with what we have seen, we're not done with cabinets yet. There is still another pair to be opened. So never again let it be said that you don't have enough storage space. This is another great model from the Sword label from over 20 years ago. It has a very high metal content, and in addition to the really good detailing, a high point was the wider range of functionality, and all of that makes it a great model to display with others. So if you like getting lubed up, this model is excellent.